whether the 85% reservation of scheduled tribe is excessive. 2. Secondly, whether the reservation given to categories of tribes of Meghalaya are in proportion to their backwardness or not. And 3, whether any change is required in the present proportion. Considering the fact and the major chunk of the population of the state of Meghalaya is tribal and others are very nominal, coupled with the fact that they are really backward, although the education and social status of these people is gradually improving, still a lot is to be done. First question, whether 85% reservation to scheduled tribe is excessive. It is correct that the present system is in conflict with the judgment of Supreme Court. But at the same time, it is protected by the same judgment, but this can be challenged before the court of law. As discussed above in the findings of question number 1, this is also to be kept in mind that reservation policy as existing in the state of Meghalaya, no matter how good or bad it is not in consonance with the judgment of Supreme Court, especially in the case of Indra Sawhney, where it caps the quantum of reservation to 50% when it is given on the basis of caste and community. Although it is protected by the same judgment to a certain extent, but an introduction of a new policy could be subject to judicial review. The present policy, as existing therefore more than 50 years, has lesser possibility of judicial review. Therefore, the committee also suggests and warns the stakeholders to make no further demands of change in the reservation policy of 1972, since it would adversely impact the present policy. If the reservation policy would have to face the touchstone of judicial review, this could not succeed before the eyes of law. 2. Secondly, whether the reservation given in the categories of tribes of Meghalaya are in proportion to their backwardness or not. Now coming to the second question, whether the reservation given to the different categories of the tribes of Meghalaya are in proportion to their backwardness. This is very broad question, and for this the committee has gone into records which have been provided to it by the representative and government, and perusal of this entire record. It is understandable that the state of Meghalaya is typically divided into two sects for the present purpose, that is Garo region and non-Garo region. From the record and the representations made by the people of various walks of life, organizations have not been able to guide the community the reasons or such increase or decrease in the reservation given to these categories. The only argument which has been made by these people is a proportion of population. It is repeatedly enunciated by the Supreme Court that mere population is not a criteria for deciding the percentage of reservation. There are various other criteria for the same, as it has been discussed. Thirdly, whether any change is required in the present proportion. The mandate as given to the committee suggests reaching out to stakeholders and collecting the wish and will of the stakeholders, and suggest changes in the present policy. Therefore, the committee acted upon the mandate and found out that major chunk of stakeholders do not want a change in the present policy. The total representation which was suggestive of this change are 15 in number. Out of these 15 representatives, a few of them have stated that there would be a fair competition between these three tribes. But again, the philosophy of reservation is not based on competition, but the backwardness and other criteria shall be the issue of consideration. None of these people have been able to demonstrate that the backwardness is the reason behind the clubbing of these tribes into one category. Second, 5 people have stated that the population shall be the criteria to decide the proportion of reservation. But as it has been discussed in detail earlier, this argument cannot be accepted. Number 13, the majority of stakeholders favor retaining the 1972 policy as it stands. The committee recommends retaining the 1972 reservation as it stands. Majority of the stakeholders support this view, and any change would be vulnerable to judicial review. The committee also finds no compelling reason to modify the policy at this time. A lot has been achieved by this policy and a lot more is required to be achieved. A proper implementation and stricter adherence could provide for better results. The policy have been improvised time to time to meet the requirement of time and need of people at large. These recommendations are made in light of legal framework, public opinion and judicial precedents to ensure that the reservation policy continues to serve its purpose and uplifting backward communities while staying within the bounds of constitutional and judicial guidelines. The committee's recommendations aim to uphold the constitutional principles of affirmative action, address socio-economic backwardness, and ensure that the reservation system continues to serve the needs of the most disadvantaged communities in the state. It emphasizes that any change to the existing system must be carefully considered, keeping in mind legal precedents and the socio-economic reality of the tribes and castes in Meghalaya. The committee recommends maintaining the 1972 reservation policy as it is in light of these findings and judicial guidance. Mr. Chairman, sir, these are the findings and the summary of the report that has been submitted by the expert committee on state reservation policy. And as you can see, sir, the details of every aspect of the reservation policy has been looked into. And while as leaders in this august house and representatives of the people, we understand that there are aspirations and desires and demands and needs that are there from different sections and different communities. But while we do that, as a government and as lawmakers, we need to also stand as per the mandate of the law and look at all aspects that are based on proper constitutional aspects and also legal aspects. And therefore, we are examining all these aspects. We have heard out the points that have been made by all the honorable members of the House, and I also would like to echo the thoughts and ideas that have been presented by the Leader of Opposition, that at the end of the day, so we all have stood together as different tribes, as different communities, to fight for the state and to get our state at that point in 1972. And now that we have our state, it is up to us to take that legacy forward. While challenges will always be there, while needs will always be there, we have to remember one very important criteria, that the only way for us to be able to move forward, in spite of all the challenges and hurdles that come, is to stay united, is to be one, is to be people of state of Meghalaya. And that is what we should try and aspire to do. We are aware, sir, that jobs and unemployment is a major issue, not only in our state, but in the rest of the country and the world at large. But as you have seen in numerous presentations that I have made in the past many sessions, about why the need to make sure that the economy grows and how the policies and programs have been developed to take forward every single sector with the sole aim of creating more and more jobs.